guys, welcome to my channel. Please click the subscribe button if you have not subscribed, as you'll be missing a lot. So for this tutorial, we'll be making that Zaracap, and we'll need a pair of scissors, a rule, a fabric, any stretchy fabric would be preferable, tape roll, and glue gun. Yes, would also be needing some embellishment and our chalk. So let's get right into this tutorial. First, I'm going to start by placing my fabric and cutting out 23 inches length. I'm going to mark that out on my fabric, and the width is going to be 16 inches. So 23 by 16, or 18 inches, sorry, 18 inches. So 23 by 18 inches. All right. So now I have it cut out already. 23 inches length and 18 inches width. So the next thing I'm going to do is have my MACO folded into two. I'm going to notch the middle. The measurement for my MACO is 18 inches by 2.5 inches. For the MACO, that's this one I'm holding now, 18 inches by 2.5. I'm going to notch the midpoint. I'm going to show you why notching it is actually necessary. Sorry guys, I actually don't know if it's notch or nudge. So permit me, after this tutorial, I'm going to check my dictionary again. As funny as it sounds. So for my fabric, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to notch the middle of the fabric, just how I am doing it. And then I'm going to place my fabric down and also place my MACO too on the fabric. That's the bad face of my fabric. I'm going to place my MACO on it, and ensuring that the marked points touch each other like so. So the next thing I'm going to do is fold my fabric, how I'm doing it, into two, and I would use a pin. I would advise you use an office pin to hold the ends of the fabric, both ends of the fabric, so that your MACO doesn't shift while you are sewing. So now I'm going to fold in my fabric, just how you hem your dress. I'm going to fold in my fabric and sew on the folded sides. So now I'm done sewing it. As you can see, I'm done sewing my fabric. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this into two, good face facing good face, like so. And then I'm going to create a curve at the end, almost the tail end of my work, just how you can see. And then I'm going to cut it out. You can't see the marks clearly because my chalk is blue color, so I'm going to cut it out. After cutting it out, this is what I have. So I'm just creating that curve there. So the next thing I'm going to do is sew by 1/2 inch round down to the end. So let's see what it looks like. I'm done sewing and this is what it looks like. The next thing I want to do is use my needle and my thread to create running stitches round it from the band. Sorry, after the band, just how you can see. So I'm going to create running stitches, just loose stitches, I beg your pardon. Yeah, this way I'm going to tie. I'm going to repeat it twice just to have a tighter sewing. So I'm just going to do that twice. After getting to the top, I'll go back again and sew. So this is just how you can actually make your Zaracap. If you haven't seen a video on how to make Zaracap, this is it. But I have a more detailed video. You can just check down to watch. But this is how you make an ordinary Zaracap. Yes, so when I turn it, this is what I would have. So we're done making our cap. Let's go right into making the bow for the cap. This is what the cap looks like. Beautiful, isn't it? So now let's see our bow. For the bow now, I'm using a satin fabric for my bow, and I'm going to measure out 10 inches length, and the width is going to be 8 inches. You know the bow is in 2, so for now I'm going to measure 10 by 8, 10 inches length and 8 inches width. I'm going to rule that out and cut it out. So yeah, now I have cut that out. I'm going to be doing this in 2 places. So I'm just going to put this piece right on the fabric and use that as my pattern for the next one I'll be cutting. So I have 2 pieces of same measurements, 8 inches by 10 in 2 places. Now for the second bow, which is the smaller bow for the cap, I'll be measuring 8 inches length now, 8 inches length and 6 inches width. So I'm going to mark 6 inch now after marking 8 inch, and I will cut it out. So I'm going to rule it out and cut it out. So this second measurement is 8 inches by 6 inches. After marking, I'll cut it out, and I'm going to repeat the same process. I'm supposed to cut out 2 of it also, so I'm going to place it and use it as my pattern to cut out the next one. Now I am done cutting out the fabrics for my bow. Please remember that the first bow is 10 by 8 inches and I cut it in 2, and the second measurement is 8 inches by 6 inches and I also cut it in 2. So let's get right into making the bow. Now, good face facing good face, you are going to sew your work round, but first of all you leave a space at the middle so that you can turn it. Just where my fingers are, just leave a little bit of space there. Don't sew completely. So I'm also going to do the same for the second bow, which is a smaller bow. I'm going to sew all of it, but I'm going to leave a space. So I'm done sewing here. Now I'm done sewing. I just want to notch the 4 edges of my bow so that it will have a firm finishing when I turn it inside out. So I'll do same for the second fabric. Now let's turn using the hole that we created. Remember, a little space so that we can turn inside out. So let's go. I'll be using my comb to push the fabric from the edge of it so that it's easier for me. So yeah, I'm just going to pull it out this way, turn it inside out. So I'm done turning it. I'll do same for the smaller fabric. Turn it inside out. I'm done turning it inside. This is so that I have a really clean finishing. So the next thing I want to do is fold my fabric side by side like this. Fold side by side so that I can create that bow that you just want to have. So I am done folding, and this is what I have. I'm going to use my needle to tack it. Once or twice is okay. Once you sew, you just tie, and that is fine. I'll do repeat same process for the smaller bow. So once I sew, I'll just tack it, and that is also fine. So I have 2 pieces cut out, a bigger bow and a smaller bow. Now let's get right into attaching it to my Zaracap. So I just take it this way, put it at the middle of my Zaracap, the midpoint at the end like this, and I would sew from inside this way. This is just to tack it, just to allow it stay on the cap. So I would sew it, and once I sew it once or twice, I would also attach the smaller bow and sew it also. Now this sewing is just to have my bow stay on the cap. The sewing is not to completely have the bow sewn to the cap, because I'm still going to apply my gum to make my work firm. So you just watch. I'm just sewing to just tack my bow to the back of my cap. So after sewing, I would cut my cap. So now the problem with Nigerian YouTubers is light, because now I need light to be able to apply my hot glue, but there is absolutely no light. So I'm just going to continue with my illustration so that you understand what next to do. So usually I would use my gum and apply at the back of the bow, at the back of each bow, to make it firmer to my cap. I would also apply to the small, at the back of the smaller bow, like this, so that it can stand firm behind my cap. Okay, and it can be neat. So that is what I do. And I also use the gum to add my embellishment. So any embellishment you work with is fine, but I'm using this embellishment, and to make it easier, I cut the embellishment before, so that they can come in single form, and then I apply my gum and I place it on my bowl. So you see how beautiful it looks when it is done. So this is how you go about it. If you go about this way, your work will be fine. Please guys, if you like this tutorial, if you found it useful, please kindly hit the subscribe button, and you can ask me any question in the comment section. I will reply as soon as I get your questions. Okay, so this is how the Zaracap looks like. I am going to apply the gum and the embellishment when there is light, and I'll show you what it looks